Hey, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Reach Out with Ray, Steve, and me, Robby. We are the show where East meets West, where the Yankees meet the Dodgers. Baseball meets music, and we all come together for a community. All right, let's invite my buddies now, Ray and Steve. Come on in, guys.
It's good to be on with you. It's good to be back with Steve.
That's right. That's right. Robby, welcome back. Another baseball season.
Hey, we've started. Baseball has started. Life is good again.
Life is good again. You've been killing it with Frankie Valli all over the country, Hawaii, everywhere. You take a little break for Holy Week.
Yeah, it's been a tough week.
Congratulations on everything that you're doing.
Well, we've been touring. Robby's Records has been going like crazy. It's so much. There's too much music and too little time is my problem.
Well, all I know is that I heard that when you was in Hawaii, they were calling you Don Ho. There was a confusion there.
There's Frankie and I in Hawaii right there. Yeah, we had a great trip.
Aloha, aloha. But you know what? We have a special show. At the end of today's show, we're going to have an exclusive interview with this guy over here, 50 years in baseball, a magnificent acknowledgement that we're going to pay tribute to him over and over again. What do you think, Robby, 50 years for Ray?
Well, you know what? I always have a wisecrack for Ray, but I'm going to get serious just for a minute. Ray Negron is a special human being, and for him to make it 50 years in the baseball world is a fantastic achievement. My hat goes off to you. I'm thankful to have you as a friend, and I just kudos to you, brother Ray. And that's the last nice thing I'm going to say to you all day.
Wow.
Thank you, my brother.
Well, we have two special guests, Billy Martin Jr. And let's bring Billy Martin on because
you mean the Billy Martin Jr., our buddy
in Florida, and he nailed it, and he nailed me. Billy, are you there?
Yes, I am. My knuckles are still sore from hitting you too, by the way.
There we go. We're going to flip the script the next time. I'm going to punch you out. How's that?
Oh, yeah.
That'll be the day.
Okay.
If anybody knows how to play Billy Martin, it's got to be Billy Martin Jr.
That's
okay?
right. That's right. Billy, how was your experience with that? But more importantly, doing it in a sold-out crowd for veterans and their families.
It was a blast. You know, Ray's asked me to do it for years, and I've always found an excuse not to. And it was fun. It really was. It was great to see all these guys, all these professionals at work doing their thing, and to not go and not screw it up. I was kind of happy too.
Well, your father would have been proud of how you played him.
Well,
brought him back to life.
I'm glad I can make you happy there, Pard.
No, you did.
Yeah.
You did.
I'm still a little sore over here as the marshmallow salesman, but I'll get over it.
Now the next time we get a chance to do Bat Boy, and if I get to play Tommy Lasorda and Billy gets to play his dad, can we have a little brawl there?
That'll work. Yeah. I know who's gonna win, but that'll work.
Yeah,
I know who's win too. It wouldn't be me.
Yeah, we're planning to do it in Nashville, Robby. So get ready in Nashville, okay?
I'm ready, baby.
Billy, you're a baseball agent, and we got some big news for the Yankees. Talk about our next guest.
I'll tell you something. Colten Brewer has become more than a client to me. He's pretty much family now, but we've been doing this thing together since he was the first pick of the fourth round in the 2011 draft.
Wow.
He was in the same draft class with Garrett Cole for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And he's been all over the place. And ironically, the Yankees Rule 5'd him, and it was his best season in baseball. I mean, in professional baseball. He went from A ball to AA to AAA right before his minor league free agent year. And all of a sudden, we had big league offers, major league offers, when he hadn't pitched but 10 innings at AAA. And he's a guy that has great stuff and is a great kid and has busted his hump to get to where he's at. And if he can keep things happy out there on the field, I think he's going to keep Yankee fans real happy.
Wow.
Well, bring him on, Billy.
That man. It's awesome. I wish I had my hat with me too. I'll just stick with the Yankee one for now, though.
Yeah, you look good in the Yankee hat there, Colten. Thank you. Welcome to New York. Ray Negron, Robby Robinson is Frankie Valli's musical director, almost 50 years. So we do this show, Shout. It's about bringing people together, great people, and you're one of those people. So, Billy, thank you for having him come on tonight's show.
No, thank you guys.
Yeah, we're so glad that the way this worked out. You know, he was in camp with the Tampa Rays, which was really cool for him because his wife, who not only is taking care of their 1-year-old son, but has one on the way, is from the Tampa area, is from Bradenton, so has her whole family there. And so we were excited that it looked like it was going to work out. He had a great spring. He didn't give up a run. And lo and behold, a couple tricks happened, and next thing you know, he's back in pinstripes where he had great luck years ago, and so we're looking forward to this year.
Awesome.
Colten, welcome to the New York Yankees, number one. We're happy to have you, number two. How does it feel? I mean, your agent is Yankee royalty. His father was one of the kings of the Yankees. How does it feel to be a Yankee?
You know, ever since I put on the pinstripes in 2017, you know, this organization always has meant something special to me. And to play in the big leagues now in 2023 is, you know, it's unbelievable in some aspects of it. And, you know, and having Billy as an agent is just a plus. You know, I'd like to get it arranged to wear number one at some point, but I know that might not happen. I don't know if Billy's blessing's enough there.
Now, let me ask you. You already play with some top players in the major leagues, Aaron Judge and Glaber and some of these other guys. How does it feel to be a part of that? When you walk into that clubhouse every day and you see 99 hanging up on there, I mean, what goes through your mind?
You know, the same thing anybody will tell you that's put on pinstripes. And, you know, with those guys being here, those big bombers, and, you know, it helps out with, you know, pitchers' confidence. And you're rolling in here and you know that every team's coming here to play the New York Yankees. And I've been in that other bullpen before and it's not fun. But being in this clubhouse, you know, it's a great journey. Everybody comes up to you. The culture here, you know, even guys that didn't come through the system, it's just they catch on to it. And, you know, they're just so warming and welcoming that you just want to play for this team when you step in the clubhouse.
Do you notice, like, is everything, like they say, everything so first class, the clubhouse situation, facilities, the equipment managers, all that kind of stuff? You even have psychologists in there running all over the place. Do you feel that?
Oh yeah, this is what they talk about in the movies and stuff like that. You know, not many organizations do it like the Yankees do. I don't think any of them do, but you know, it's definitely like a movie out here, and I'm living it, so it's fun.
Colten, when you step on the mound in New York City in Yankee Stadium versus you're stepping on the mound in Pittsburgh or Milwaukee or where some of the smaller market places, is it a different feel to walk on that stage?
Oh yeah, it's got to be. You know, it's, you know, when the Yankees come to town, I feel like we have the upper hand pretty much at any stadium. There's going to be at least 50% Yankee stands at any major league stadium, unless you're going to Fenway.
Yeah.
But you know what, you know, anytime the Yankees show up in town, you know what you're getting into, and I'm just happy to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Now you're about to have your second child.
Yep.
how does that weigh on your head as far as coming to pitch, but your baby, this and that? I mean, I'm the father of 4, so I know how I've gone through those scenarios, but never in your magnitude as being on the major league field. But you're thinking about your wife as the baby, or how's that? How are you dealing with that?
Oh, just I did it last year with the Royals, and so my first son was born right in the heart of spring training, so I had to deal with it right off the bat. And I guess this is round 2, except it's going to happen right after the All-Star break. So, I think it's just one of those things that just comes so natural, and it does kind of suck that I'm not going to be there to help my wife, handle 2 small children. And I know what it's like having 1 right now, but, it's just those little miracles, and you just deal with it, but it's the best things that happen to you. And, thankful for that as well.
Now, Colten, with all the changes in baseball, including the time clock, is that an advantage or disadvantage for someone like you?
I did it all last year in AAA with the clock and stuff like that. I do feel like back then I was kind of thinking that, like, why are they changing the game? Why are they doing this? And, like, once I got up to the big leagues or got back here this year, it just seemed like, you know what, maybe I do have an advantage sometimes with nobody on, or if we're leading, the hitters really don't have time to sit there and think about something, or get a pitcher out of his rhythm is probably the main thing.
Well, Colten, now this question for me is personal, and I'm going to ask you because I want to see how Billy Martin Jr. how has he been an educator. So I got to ask you, what do you know about Billy Martin Sr.?
Oh, well, I guess there's not many things that I don't know, because Billy does talk about him quite often. And one of the things that people tell me is that Billy is a spitting image of his father, and is just like him. So I can only imagine what his father was like. I'm sure he was probably the best guy to be around. And, just seeing those pictures right there is really cool. And, it tells you a lot about him right there. I just had fire in his spirit, always being a great dad and a great coach.
There's one picture that shows the Billy Martin that I really knew, the Billy Martin who would go into the Bronx community and see the kids. He didn't care what color they were. And generally speaking, they were in that era, they were usually black or black and Hispanic. And he would be hugging on these kids, and he would make them feel like $1 million. And you know what? If a kid was in trouble, he would teach them how to fight and how to throw that first punch. And this was the Billy Martin that I knew, that I loved, that taught me and made me go into the New York Golden Gloves and get my ass whipped. Okay, but that's okay, because he was happy just that I did it. And that was the Billy Martin that I knew. And that's why I'm so proud of Billy Jr. And I'd whip his butt every once in a while if I thought I could beat him, but I can't. So it's okay.
Yeah, I never met a Martin that was afraid of anything. So
that's the problem with the Martins.
They're not afraid. They ain't afraid.
Billy, when you're hearing Colten talk, I sense the sense of pride within you. This is why you do what you do, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, look, this guy's more than a client to me. He's become like family to me. I've literally been looking at properties and stuff around where he and his family live because they're my kind of people. But that's the way this business is. You get very involved, and it's
no, Billy.
Game too.
Billy, I'm gonna cut you off. That is not the way this business is. Okay. Because I've known the agents, they're not like you. And I know you personally, you're my brother. So I know how you've been talking about Colten forever and his father and how his father is and all this stuff. Colten, I've been hearing about you forever. I can't stand you. But with all this, I mean, this guy, forget about it. So he is not like the other agents. Not
It is
even
not.
close. So watch your mouth, young man.
That's
Colten,
funny.
is it important to you to give back to your community? Have you done work outside the baseball field? Is that important to you?
Yes, that side of the job is very important to me. What I do when I go home in the off season is I give out lessons to kids, and I charge them, depending on what situation they are. But usually the younger kids I enjoy working with a lot. I get emotional talking about it a little bit, but I work my whole life to, have kids look up to me in a certain way like that. And when I go teach them, just the correct way to hold a baseball or catch a baseball, and they look at me, and the way they look at me it's very heartwarming, and it just makes everything around me just better. And I feel like that just makes me super proud as a human being to just give back, make people happy, and help them play the game the right way.
Wow. Makes all that work worth it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
So Colten, again, I'm going to take advantage here, and Billy knows. Would you go to a school with me and another player at some point?
I definitely would. I'd love that opportunity to go with you.
Thank you.
Wow.
And again, I'm going to take you to a school that I took Mr. Steinbrenner and Billy's dad years ago, and I love to go. So that'll be.
I'd love to be there.
So Colten, Ray Negron celebrating 50 years in baseball. I mean, since 1973, he's been part of the Yankee fabric. He's written 5 books. He's done community work. He just got acknowledged at the United Nations. So you guys partnering up for one of those schools in the Bronx is an amazing opportunity for both of you to come together. So that's exciting.
Most definitely.
So, Robby, what are your thoughts about Colten and Billy?
Oh, that's so exciting, Colten, that you're with the Yankees again. And I'm surprised. You know what? I'm not surprised, because there must be something in the water down there in Texas that make good pitchers. I'll tell you what. Like we have a pitcher on the Dodgers that's a pretty good pitcher from Texas.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a guy named Nolan something too that was a pretty good pitcher from Texas?
You've got more than one, Robby. Not only is that Kershaw fella pretty good, but that Dustin May kid's pretty darn good too.
Pretty darn good.
That's right. Well, Colten, I know that you're at the field in Yankee Stadium. You got pregame workout that you have to attend to. Thank you so very much, sir. God bless you.
Yeah.
Billy, thank you for making this happen.
My pleasure, guys.
Thank you, guys. God bless.
God bless. Colten Brewer, Billy Martin Jr. God bless. Robby, what do you think of those two?
That is so cool. You know what? Whenever you make it to the show, that is a big, big deal. And then to make it to the show with the New York Yankees, that is super special. That's almost as special as making it with the Los Angeles Dodgers, but
almost. Not quite.
But that's really cool, and I just wish Colten nothing but the best. And you can tell just by talking to him, this is a really fine young man.
Yes.
Great character.
That's right.
And he wouldn't be with Billy that way if he wasn't.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that.
That's right. So, Robby, you have something cool going on, too. Robby's Records.
Oh, man.
You are killing it with Sara Niemietz lately.
I didn't know that being a president of a record company was so much work. Man, I used to be a piano player, and now I have to do all this other stuff. But
you're a regular Tommy Mottola.
I know. Tommy Mottola meets Tommy Lasorda.
Yeah,
but
here we go.
So the baseball season just opened up, and you got a new song with Sara Niemietz.
I do, and here's, you know what? You can show me here. It's our version of "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." This is not more perfect. And Sara Niemietz and I did our own very unique. And if you watched Reached Out for the last 2 years, you'll recognize some of this was part of our Reach Out promo introduction. But maybe we shouldn't waste any more time. Why don't we play the song? Would that be cool?
Let's play it and make some brief comments right after that.
All right. Sounds good. Here it goes.
the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. Let me root for my home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Take me out, to the ball game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get it back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Bravo.
Ah.
Well done.
You know what? That is such an iconic song. And is there a
You
more
made it
famous?
into a ballad.
Is there a more famous song than that?
I don't think so.
I
Yeah.
think-
Too good to be true.
Yeah, I mean a more famous baseball song than that. Let's put
Okay.
it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, because when you really get the lyrics, you know, you can reach in and make it a heartfelt moment of
Right.
because you know, if you love baseball, that's a love and a passion that is very deep and profound. And that song can kind of take us on that little trip of that whole thing.
You loved it.
It was great. I love
Nice
your
job, Robby.
I love your collaborations with Sara because you guys work closely together. You're both musically talented to the top degree. It's just a blessing to see you guys do that kind of work together.
You know, the funny thing is how we work together, and we definitely have a great musical kinship, but we rarely see each other. I mean, all of the stuff that we just do virtually. You know, she'll work on a part and I'll send it to me and back and forth and that kind of a thing. So it's very unique, but yeah, she's a blessing to work with. And she's so talented. Not only does she great singer and writer and everything else, but she creates those videos. That's that's amazing video. I call her like it's Spielbergian. I mean, she has a vision for that stuff, and her putting all those black and white, and then just bringing the color into the picture right when it's powerful, and Babe Ruth and all the great people that we see in those videos.
No doubt. Before we have this exclusive interview with Ray, and we're going to have many, many more over the next year, but it's Holy Week. Talk about the importance of that and people coming together, Robby, real quick.
Well, that is the most important thing, because life is short, death is sure, and so this time we spend on this planet is a twinkle of an eye when you put it in the context of eternity. And this is Holy Week, and it started off with Palm Sunday on this past Sunday. Thursday is Maundy Thursday, where we celebrate the Lord's Supper. Friday is Good Friday, and that is when we remember the time when Jesus went to that cross for each one of us to pay the sin debt for the world. And then on Sunday, hallelujah, Jesus is risen. The tomb is empty, and that's so cool. And it's a very powerful time for all Christians to celebrate the joy of the Lord.
And you know what? In the second half of the show, Ray's going to talk about his time in the United Nations a couple of days ago, bringing people together.
That's
and Robby,
so powerful.
we want to thank you for our work together.
You know what? We're gonna have to get an appointment just to talk to Ray Negron. He's getting into these heady places. The United Nations, man. Next time, who knows where it's going to be? But I am so proud of you, brother. Really, for real.
Thank you, Robby. Appreciate you. I'm always proud of you, Robby. You know that.
And the cool thing is, you notice that he's starting to dress up a little bit more. Look at this. He's always wearing a sport coat now.
I see that. I didn't even recognize him.
I got to go to work after this.
That's right.
I got to go to my real job.
Well, he's going to be the first Bat Boy to go to the moon in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's so cool, man. You are getting your kudos, which are all greatly deserved. No question about it.
Thank you, Robby.
Well, Robby, thank you so much. God bless. And let's all sit back and watch Ray Negron tell a little bit about his story. And we'll see you next week.
I'll be taking notes.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you.
Ray, so far a good show, right?
Steve, if it was any better, I'd be Chef Boyardee.
There we go. And I know Robby is all psyched about the Dodgers. We're still psyched about the Yankees. But
Too early to tell.
Too early. But let's go back a little bit. 50 years in baseball. I know you've talked about it. You've been in interviews recently. But tell our viewers what that means to you.
When I'm standing at a podium at the United Nations and I'm looking at all the world leaders looking at me, it says, I may have done something in my life. Not a lot, but a little something. I may have contributed in some way. For the first time in my life, for the first time in 50 years, in looking at the head of the Congo, the head of England, the head of, all these people, I said to myself, maybe I helped in some way make the world a better place. And that's what means a lot to me.
I mean, walking into the United Nations and seeing this unfold, and I understand you had John Eric with you, that experience alone might be something that's on top of your list in life.
My son, who's a police officer, who's a hero, who has, he's delivered 5 babies in 5 years, who saved the life of one of the babies. And when he can say to me that, thank God for George Steinbrenner, because if he doesn't save me in 1973, he's not saving the life of this baby in 2023. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that brought tears to my eyes. That made me feel like, wow, like my son really gets it. And that he can give the thanks to the great George Steinbrenner, even though he's the one that's saving the life today, but he says if he doesn't do what he did, then he's not there in 23 to save this child.
Right.
You know, Steve?
Doesn't get better than that. As
No.
a father and humanitarian, and to be around those world leaders, and internationally, I know we've all gone through this pandemic, and we've all been divided and polarized, and world peace we talk about, but you talk about love. You must have felt love in that room. People that are trying to bond together to create love.
Steve, good question. And I'm going to put it to you this way. I was happy, but I was sad. I was happy because certain people in this world are happy and are going through up and jubilation. I was sad because the other half, maybe more, are going through such a hard time in our world today, whereas we should be getting better in our world. So, you know, it's a great question because it's a tough question. And you know what? You can tell what's happening in the world by what's happening in your own life.
Right.
Okay? Because on a Friday, I'm at the UN, I'm on top of the world for those 2 hours. I'm receiving these awards, these accolades, along with Lou Bernardi, you know, who does incredible work.
No doubt.
In the whole philanthropic field. And so I was on, like I said, I was on top of the world that Friday at the United Nations. And then that Saturday, I'm back at Yankee Stadium where I work. And there were certain things that brought me down, and I was sad. Happy because I love the Yankees. The Yankees are the guys on the field, and they're wonderful. Sad because I know how blessed I am to be able to go there every day, and I wish that everybody thought the same way like I do. And in life, you know, you just take it for granted, you know, whether you're in the sports field or in the entertainment field or, you know, Broadway, you know, some people just don't get it.
Right.
And don't appreciate the blessing that God has bestowed upon them through a George Steinbrenner, through a Randy Levine, or whoever it may be. You know what I'm saying? And so it is what it is.
You know, recently I was at a game at Yankee Stadium. It just opened up a couple of days ago, and waiting online to get in. And a couple of older Yankee fans were talking how they missed the old days, how they missed the old stadium, how they missed the players walking in from that little parking lot to go into the stadium. They felt a disconnect, and I felt maybe some of the sadness that you're expressing now, that as years gone by, but it's what the Yankees are built on, and it's what this younger generation need to acknowledge. Is that some of the sadness you feel? And how do you pivot? How do you teach the younger people that sense of pride?
Actions speak louder than words. And every time I walk into that ballpark, I try to keep my head up, because the boss always told me to keep my head up. No matter how sad or upset or disappointed or discriminated I may feel, or whatever the word may be, always keep your head up, walk with pride, show that you are blessed, and that, you know, because the more I show that, it makes everybody, you know, look, we live in a copycat society. Mm-hmm. And if I continuously show that I'm up, then people are going to want to try to stay up with me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm down, people are going to fall down too.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing that I always have to remember. I always have to keep it in my head. I guess that's why I keep a psychologist around me all the time.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And because it's important, because I get weak. And, you know, like Jesus got weak. Mm-hmm. But he had his higher power get him up. And that's the whole thing.
Right. Now, it's not only 50 years in the Bronx, it's 50 years in Tampa. So leaving Tampa this year, First of all, we did a Bat Boys show on March 18th for veterans of the Veterans Heat Factory that are struggling with PTSD. We raised $6,000, and to sharing your story with those folks down there. But leaving Tampa this year, was it bittersweet for you or kind of business as usual?
The highlight was doing the play for the veterans because they really needed the money. How much is, I never, and Stephen, you should know this by now, that whenever I work in any kind of charitable situation, I don't like for the amount to ever be said.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? We raised money for a good cause, and it's going to be used for a good cause.
Yes.
Because we've been there, it's not like we just showed up. We've been there. We've been through those wars with those people. We've seen them hurt. We've seen them fall down. We've seen them react when there's an explosion or when there's something. I mean, a couple of years ago, we did our play for them, and we had a gun scene, and that gun scene brought those people back, put those people back in Vietnam and Korea and stuff. We had people diving to the floor and stuff.
Right.
And so that was a learning experience. So that's how bad that is.
But to be up on stage, to see a sold-out crowd of veterans and their families must be heartwarming. Because your family has served.
My family has served in every branch of the armed forces. Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, the Coast Guard. I was even a Boy Scout. Okay, so.
Wow. I like to see the record on that one.
Okay. So.
We'll provide that record in another show.
Right. But, that means everything to me because, you know what? There are a lot of faults in our country. Yes, there are. But there's also a lot of pride. Mm-hmm. And I take great pride in being an American and being an American citizen. I take that as a privilege. And again, these are a lot of the things that I learned being around George Steinbrenner, being around Billy Martin, being around Reggie and Thurman, because people don't know these guys.
Right.
I knew them, and I take pride in the fact that I intimately knew them and knew what made them tick and what was important and what was not important.
Right. Early in the show, you mentioned your son, John Eric, who I understand is going to be dropping the puck at an Islanders game at the UBS Arena soon against the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's an honor based on his work as a sergeant and in the Suffolk County Police Department. That, too, is another proud moment.
My two sons are my heroes. Okay, those are my heroes from the standpoint of today and what they do and how they do and how proud they are to serve our city and our state in as being police officers. Man, they've taken it to a whole nother level.
Right.
And the fact that my son is being honored by the Islanders this coming week is incredible, and he's also going to be honored in Staten Island. He's going to throw out a first pitch out there,
wow.
And some other places. And I'm going to say this, I hope the Yankees let him throw out a first pitch. I mean, no one has said anything, but that would be a thrill of thrills for me.
Come on,
to
Yankees,
see.
let's get John Eric out on that mound here. And speaking about first pitch, Ron Bloomberg, 50 years since he was the first DH, just recently threw out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium. What kind of moment was that like?
For me, it's a special moment because Ron Bloomberg was the very first Yankee. When I went to work for the Yankees, when George Steinbrenner grabbed me out of the streets and put me into that Yankee locker room, gave me a job as a bat boy, the first guy to come up to me was Ron Bloomberg.
Oh, okay.
So that's special for me. And I was very proud of him yesterday. And you know what? I think I was probably the first person he called when he was told that he was going to throw out the first pitch because that's something he's always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. You could see the pride on his face. He went out maybe an hour before he was set to throw out the first pitch.
You had to warm up, Steve.
Warm up, yeah. Talking with the fans, the security, everybody. He was talking to everybody.
That's always been like
Number
that.
12, and brought back a lot of memories,
Ron Bloomberg was like that as a player.
Wow.
Always.
Wow. And speaking about players, you often bring up and help guide younger athletes. Like Gio Urshela is coming back as an Angel next week, but also Anthony Volpe. You kind of worked with him recently before he got the starting gig as the shortstop for the Yankees. Let's check out a little interview that you did in Tampa before camp.
What does it mean to you to be on the same field as Mantle, DiMaggio, Ruth, and Garrett?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, probably have goosebumps, but I mean, that's what makes the Yankees the Yankees. There's so much history, and you can have a lifetime of learning more and more about it, and just finding little places like this that are hollowed ground. That's what comes with being a Yankee, and that's why I think me and all of my other teammates, we work so hard because we want to carry on that tradition and that legacy.
Do you really understand what it means to be a Yankee?
I don't know if anyone does, but I like to think that
you're getting there.
Yeah, I'm getting there. And I have great guys like you and like my parents and like my grandfather who they really grew up loving the Yankees, and that's how they raised me up. So if anyone, I'd like to say my parents and then through me.
Talk about that interview.
He's a great young man. And what's even better than him is the fact that his family is so terrific. They're so supportive. His mom is a doctor. She's from the Philippines. His dad is a doctor, Italiano, and they're the greatest people. And they're the biggest Yankee fans of any family that I've ever, in all my years of the families. They're the biggest Yankee fans.
Wow.
And they're again. Just wonderful, wonderful people, and the grandfather Anthony, he's named Anthony also. The grandfather is a wonderful man. Loved Mickey Mantle. So during spring training, Anthony wore 77 after Mickey Mantle,
yes.
7 twice.
Right.
You know, and he's a great kid. You know, we've had him at the schools out in the wintertime.
CS 55.
You know, and I said, I better get him out there now because once he becomes this mega star, I'm not going to be able to get close to him.
Right.
And you know what? Good thing I did.
Good thing.
Because now he's being hit from every angle.
But that's what's the work you've done for 50 years. It's not between the white lines. It's everything outside the white lines. And I think it's such a message to young athletes, young people, to really remind them what's really important in life, because not everybody can make it to being the shortstop of the New York Yankees. After that game's over, that's the Bronx community, and that's what you're all about. Gio Urshela, too, you also brought around, and he was very receptive to working with the kids.
He was wonderful. Gio Urshela, I'm going to have to say, was probably one of the top 3 experiences that I have ever had with a celebrity, with an athlete, with a baseball player, because he was like, Ray, what do you need? Ray, where we're going? And he never ever said no to me. If I said, Gio, we're going to this place, what time? You know what I'm saying? He was wonderful. I miss him. And the day he got traded, I'm going to be honest with you, I found out he was going to get traded. I called him and I cried. I literally broke down on the phone because I knew I had lost my go-to guy. You know, and I always call him that, my go-to guy.
Yeah. And the kids lost a
kids
hero,
loved
too.
their hero, man.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why, you know, hey, it's going to take a few guys to make up for what Gio did, and he'll never get the credit that he deserves for being the hero that he was in the Bronx.
It'll be a cool thing if you introduce Gio and Anthony Volpe to each other. That would be really cool.
It would be cool to have them both at a school together.
Yeah.
You know, passing the torch.
No doubt. Well, we Gino's Pastry in North Avenue. We don't have a lot of time, but there's a news clip talking about small businesses and how Gino's and Jerome and Joanne are really struggling. Let's check out a little piece of that clip that channel CBS put on a couple of days ago.
Say they're not feeling valued after being denied loans by the city.
CBS 2's Soch Bedrosian has the story. We're gonna dip it for you.
There we go.
Gino's Pastry Shop on Arthur Avenue is best known for a few things.
That's the traditional biscotti.
their homemade authentic treats, and the quality time enjoying them. It's a 63-year-old family business and now legendary on the block. But owner Jerome Raguso is now on the verge of closing their doors because of financial setbacks from the pandemic.
While we were closed, I still had to pay my health insurance.
Expenses piled up for Raguso, so they turned to the Department of Small Business Services for help.
We tried to apply for grants just to take care of that, and for some reason we got denied.
Well, just like Gino's Pastry Shop, other small businesses across the Bronx were also denied small business loans as well. And a report from the New York City Comptroller's Office says the Bronx received the least amount of loans and the smallest dollar amount distributed as well. According to that report, the Bronx accounts for 7.7% of the city's small businesses, but they only received 2.2% of the SBS loans. We've reached out to the city for comment about why the Bronx received such few loans compared to the other boroughs, and we're still waiting to hear back. Rob Walsh, the interim president of the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation, says the city turned their back to the Bronx.
When I hear that only 9 of the 519 applicants for loans from the Bronx got approved, is pretty outrageous.
As for Gino's, they're hoping the city can change their policies in the future to be more inclusive.
I don't want to leave. This place too emotional to me.
And Rob Walsh tells me he believes the city...
So this is a pastry place that's been around for over 60 years.
It's not a pastry place.
It's an Italian...
It's the
pastry place with the best cappuccino in the world.
The best cappuccino in the world, made by Joanne, who's incredible and wonderful and beautiful and great.
Right. So when you see a piece like this, thinking that it might close its doors because of finances...
Hey, you know what? I mean, they have a GoFundMe situation going on right now. If you get a chance, check it out, because during, you know what, they got into financial difficulties because during the pandemic, they were taking their profits and giving them to families, feeding families. I mean, their doors were open to all these people that didn't have during the pandemic. And now, after the pandemic is over, because of what they were doing there, it's hit them back. And you know, hey, I'm for helping people that help us, and you know, I know that I've tried to help in my own way, and I hope that people have a heart, especially those that have received from Gino's Pastries.
Mm-hmm. Before we end today's Reach Out show with the...
It's over?
It ain't over.
Oh.
We're going to end with It Ain't Over.
Yeah, that's what Yogi said.
That's what Yogi said, and his documentary is coming out nationwide on May 12th. What are your thoughts about Lindsay and what she did?
Lindsay Berra is Yogi's oldest grandchild. She's incredibly beautiful. A physical specimen, because she works out like a madman. Mm-hmm. And I am so blown away by that documentary and what she did in that documentary. Yeah. She's a producer, and what she did in that documentary blew. I did not expect that at all. Mm-hmm. I did not expect that at all. And even though I may have known Yogi, now I know Yogi because of what she gave us.
It's funny that even the diehard Yankee fans, I don't think, knew everything about Yogi Berra. And when you watch that documentary, then you really walk away with a better understanding and respect for the man, for the family, and for the legend he was.
Hey, I mean, it's sad that, I'm sorry that Lindsay didn't talk to me, because I have the last person that Yogi worked for was me in the animated film Henry and Me.
Oh, yeah.
And we have also a making of Henry and Me, of which Yogi is fabulous.
Right, before we end the show with a trailer, I'm going to ask you a question. We have like 2 minutes. I want you to answer this. If you had 3 people to pick out, I know Patsy's is your favorite restaurant. If you were going to go to Patsy's with 3 people, who would they be and why?
Okay. Aside from my family.
Okay, all right.
The 3 people would be George Steinbrenner, Billy Martin, and Mr. Frank Sinatra.
Why those 3?
George Steinbrenner saved my life. Billy Martin maintained my life. And Mr. Sinatra helped me see my life.
Wow.
You understand?
Yeah.
And the fact that I've had dinner with these 3 men at Patsy's, and and that I go there and I'm treated like royalty. It's the one place where when I know that when I walk into Patsy's, they're going to treat me like a human being. They're going to treat me the way everybody is supposed to be treated. Because I go to other places, I'm treated like crap. Okay, and I go to a specific place, and I'm not treated good, man, and it bothers me. So that when I go to Patsy's, and I see the spirits of Mr. Sinatra and of Billy and of the boss, I get sad, but at the same time I get happy because I know they're there. Right. And they say, eat up, kid, and shut up. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's wonderful.
Don't be sad it's over, be happy that it happened. Right.
That's Steve, very good.
Yeah,
very good, Yogi.
It's Dr. Seuss.
Oh, wow, okay.
But anyway, before
Yogi stole it from Dr. Seuss.
Right. I know at the end of that meal you'd have dessert, but knowing you now, you would take the best selfie ever, right? With those 4, including yourself?
Oh, yeah, we would be like, I would be like this. Guys, ready? Hurry up, Ray.
Everybody see yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Love you, brother.
Love you.
Good job. Reach out next week.
Love you.
Back.
The 2015 All-Star Game features the 4 greatest living baseball players. Hank Aaron, Johnny Bench, Sandy Koufax, and Willie Mays, who are all absolutely amazing players in their own right. But I'm in the room sitting next to my grandfather, Yogi Berra. And I'm thinking, wait a second. He's got more MVPs than any of these guys. He's won more World Series rings than all 4 of them combined. And I look at him and I said, are you dead? And he said, not yet.
One of the greatest World Series resumes of any player ever.
Hey, he got it done. He was a winner because he had all the rings to prove it.
He's the figure that was larger than life.
There's no Jackie without the acceptance of Yogi Berra.
When Yogi comes to the team, they say he doesn't look like a Yankee.
He wasn't 6'3" with blonde hair. Everything about him was kind of funny.
He was a character. He was made fun of in the New York press.
But that sort of became who Yogi Berra was, this funny little guy.
That's right. Yogi Berra.
I don't think Yogi liked it too much.
The Yogi-isms. Let's talk about the Yogi-isms.
He said nobody goes to that restaurant anymore. It's too crowded.
When you get to a fork in the road, take it. What?
And it ain't over till it's over.
It makes a lot of sense.
That personality of his actually served to take away from his legacy as a baseball player.
It always felt wrong. It's not fair to him.
He's just a gentle, kind soul.
He was loved by so many people in this country.
Total respect for Yogi. A guy that everybody loved, not because he was cute and funny, it's because he was good and he was real.
He was the most overlooked superstar in the history of baseball.
Next is Mr. Ray Negron.
Self-reflection to improve themselves and their communities, stimulating a crucial turning point for transforming the world.